fans, and welcome here as we get set to start our second weekend here of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series with today's non-charter event, in which the top 7 finishers in this race will make their way into the main event race for the Hersheys Cup Series here this weekend, filling in slots 36 through 42, joining the 35 chartered drivers. We are here today at a debuting racetrack, as you can clearly see by the title of this video. We were scheduled, and I was fully planning for us to go to Rockingham, UK for our second race, as has been the case in the past few seasons. However, I cast my memory back to those past few seasons, and I remembered a certain pit wall entrance to pit road that it's caused some problems for drivers that come down pit lane, and so in order to avoid that altogether, we are here at a brand new debuting racetrack in Rio de Janeiro. This is the Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway, and I kind of found it rather ironic. I loaded up this race, I looked at the name, and I thought to myself, why do I know that name? I've got an autographed picture of Emerson Fittipaldi hanging up in my bedroom, and I never even put 2 and 2 together. So, hopefully this track, from what I saw in testing, it looks like it's got some similarities to Rockingham, UK, so maybe some of these drivers that have raced Rockingham, UK in the past can apply that to today's race. But it's going to be very interesting, not only here today, but also in the Pizza Hut X Series and the main event Hersheys Cup Series race. Everybody going to be on a level playing field, not really certain what this track is going to bring into play. Without further ado, though, we're going to go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports, and get ready to go racing in Rio.
Drivers, start your engines.
20 laps of racing, as you can see. J Stultz, second season. He's been in the Hersheys Cup Series over with Fire Ice Racing, lining up on the pole alongside of Ryan George's Dodge Dart in the number 91. Points leader Daniel Gilbert, our winner from last week's non-charter race at Daytona, lines up in the third position alongside of Michael Norman Motorsports teammate D Shears in the 21. Gilbert, the points leader, by 5 points over Seth Cole, Alex Gray, Jordan Lopez, and Alex Miller. That's the top 5 in points. Caitlin Tsang, Cole Deaver, David Culpepper, Caleb Farrell, and Trace Williams. That is your top 10 in points coming into today's race. And right here is a part of the racetrack that I think is very similar to Rockingham, UK. That rumble strip down there, it's a pretty interesting exit off of turn number 2, which really reminds me a lot of how the cars would come off of Rockingham, UK's turn number 2. So I'm expecting to see a lot of similarities, to be honest, between this racetrack and Rockingham, UK. We'll just have to see what the end result is going to be. Another rumble strip there as they head down into the turn 3 area. And down here into turn number 4 before heading for home to the start-finish line. The pace car getting ready to peel off onto pit road. We're about ready to turn them loose. I can't wait to see what kind of racing we can have here at Rio de Janeiro. Waiting on that flagman to wave the green to get us underway for the second race of the non-charter series and the Hersheys Cup Series. Green flag is out. We're underway in Rio de Janeiro. Back at Rockingham, UK is 3 wide's not exactly a good idea. I would kind of think the same can be said here at Rio. Someone's trying 3 wide back there. Was 3 wide, settled back out to double wide, which is okay. It's not too bad. And the battle for the lead is over. Ryan George on the outside line going to take the top position away from J Stultz. Battle is on for third between the 96 of Tyler Deaver and the 4 of the points leader Daniel Gilbert. Ryan George using the outside line out of 3 to get the top position. And again, remember what I said, these drivers are not only racing for the win, because obviously there are points here in this series, but they're also racing to try and remain in the top 5 in the point standings. Those top 5 positions would fill in the bottom 5 and the top 35 and roll up. We got the caution out, racing back to the line. I'll just finish my statement real quickly here. Of the top 35 drivers, the bottom 5 would lose their charters to the top 5 finishers of the season here in the non-charter series, plus top 7 finishers of this race make it into the main event at this very racetrack in a couple of days in the Hersheys Cup Series. I think they crossed the line. I thought they crossed the line after the caution came out. And apparently that's the case. They did just race it back to the stripe. Ryan George holds the top position, second Tyler Deaver, then you got Zachary Stultz, Elijah Gilbert up to the fourth position, and Daniel Gilbert in fifth. See who got involved in this one. It looks like it was the 64 of Austin LaPlante out of WG Motorsports. A lot of damage on that Market Basket Cobalt Tools Chevrolet. There's Trace Williams there in the 57 and Sean Henley in the 157. 257 cars. Makes it very confusing, but there you have it. Trace Williams coming into this race 10th in points. He's way back here. If he got involved or not, Cody Smart in the 112. Jonathan Zorlin in the 93. I know Chris Dollerton started near the rear of the field, so these might have just been some drivers that fell back. Oh, there's another car on pit row. That's J Cittadino. J Cittadino out of Furniture Row Racing, 5-hour Energy Toyota Camry on pit lane. So it may have been a two-car incident involving Cittadino and LaPlante. Ryan George showing the way. We have only completed 2 laps of this race, about to complete the third. Let's take a look at a replay of what puts under the caution for the first time here today at Rio de Janeiro. This was going into turn number 1. They are 3 wide. That is Matt McIntire on the bottom, LaPlante in the middle, Cittadino trying to get the run the high side. And I don't know if Cittadino came down or if LaPlante came up, but whatever the case, both of them go up, and that is not a usual safer barrier. Those are actually some tire barriers up there, and then a concrete wall behind, and so it just rips the car apart when you make contact with it. And you can just clearly see that's the case as J Cittadino's car comes to a dead stop, and there is LaPlante. Boy, LaPlante, his teammates very close to all of this. His teammate DJ Curtis was just below the contact, and N Guenther in the 7 started entering the fray when LaPlante's car came down. Tripe T Vernio in the 57, a little contact there to the back of LaPlante, and Trace Williams might have gotten to the back of Vernio, but I don't think either one of them really got any damage. Just everybody just kind of got held up there behind the smoking number 64. There you see Paul Minnick going to the outside. Henley's going to get through. It looks like Cody Smart makes some contact with the back of LaPlante as well. Everybody just stacking up, trying to find a way around the disabled Chevrolet of Austin LaPlante. The lights are finally out atop the pace car. We'll go back green on lap 7 of 20. As you can see, 2 drivers out of the race. The 2 drivers basically involved in this wreck, Austin LaPlante and J Cittadino, both of which came into today's race not exactly running that great in the point stand, so this is not going to help their cause at all. LaPlante came into this race 34th in points, J Cittadino 37th in points. They're still going to find themselves in the cellar of the point standings for sure. Not the way either one of those drivers wanted to start off this season in the non-charter series, and obviously as a result both are not going to be taking part in the main event of the Hersheys Cup Series later on this weekend. Right now, those spots are being held by Ryan George, Tyler Deaver, Zachary Stultz, Elijah Gilbert, Daniel Gilbert, Dougie Shears, and Cole Deaver. Those are the current drivers that are in the top 7. They finished there. They are moving on to the main event. Pace car going to make the left-hand turn back to pit road. We'll get ready to put them back on the green this time in a single file formation. So maybe we'll get into a long green flag run. Maybe go green to the end. We'll see. Green flag back out. We're back underway here in Rio de Janeiro. Ryan George has led every lap so far, and he may not lead this one though. Here comes Tyler Deaver to the bottom for the lead, trying to clear, and he will do so. A great restart by the 96 Dodge Dart, and he will take the top position. So Tyler Deaver to the top. Ryan George now in danger of losing second. Here comes Elijah Gilbert for that position. Elijah Gilbert out of Seth Cole Baker Motorsports, a team that's been on cloud 9 for the past week after sweeping the pole and the win in the Daytona 500 for the 2nd straight season. Elijah Gilbert trying to show off that Seth Cole Baker Motorsports Ford power here as he's trying to run down Young Motorsports and Ryan George, but both are at the moment chasing Tyler Deaver. pace car, but there it is. There's Daniel Gilbert right now solidly in the 4th position. Daniel Gilbert trying to make his 2nd start of the season, the main race of the Hersheys Cup Series. Took part in the Daytona 500 last week. Now he's being hounded by his teammate, E Shears in the 21, and the caution flag is out again. Caution out again as Gilbert and Shears battle for 4th. Battle is on for 6th. There's Stephen Pollard III to the inside of Z Stultz, and he's going to now go to the inside of E Shears. I thought it was going to be 3 wide, but Daniel Gilbert was able to clear Dougie, and now Stephen Pollard III will do the same. So Pollard now moves himself up into the 5th position as we take the caution flag, with Tyler Deaver out in front, Gilbert in 2nd, and there's a car coming back off of pit road onto the racetrack. That's A Navarro in the 98, who beats the leader, I think, coming to the start-finish line, but he might have to line up behind the pace car. So I don't know where that's going to situate Navarro, but we do know that Tyler Deaver's the race leader. Let's see if we can find out who brought this caution out. It might have been Navarro. There's some right side damage there to J Lopes in the 45, who took part in last week's Daytona 500 event. C Tsang back here in the 28. No visible damage on that car out of CJ Racing, but don't know for certain if that was the case. It might have just been Lopes and Navarro. Whatever the case, though, Tyler Deaver leads us under our 2nd caution. We've not yet reached the halfway point of this race. Let's take a look at another replay. Well, all I can say is loose, loose, loose. Watch Angel Navarro to the inside of Phil Parker right here. Look at that car slideways through this turn. Gets down to the low section. I guess had to decrease speed to try and keep the thing straight. And behind him is going to be the 232 of Christian Merrick Jr., who is not going to slow down and runs into the back of Navarro. Now watch right here, makes contact again there with the right front. That actually helped Navarro straighten the car out, so that actually did not bring out the caution flag, but it is obviously worth looking at on the replay. So a great save there by Angel Navarro. But now let's see what actually brought the yellow out. Almost the exact same thing in the exact same spot that we saw with the first caution with J Cittadino and Austin LaPlante. Practically 3 wide into turn 1. Carson Gunn making the pass on both Caitlin Tsang and J Lopes. And right here you just see they're going to lock the right rear and the left front. Lopes and Tsang are. And slowly but surely as the sheet metal hooks, they're both going to go up the hill. Lopes into the wall, Caitlin Tsang into the wall. And Lopez's car actually is going to go around at a 90-degree angle and turn the wrong direction. That is why NNSCRA had to throw the caution flag. Both of them almost were able to save it, but like I said, you can see that's a tire barrier wall up there, and it literally grabs the sheet metal of your car, so it rips your car apart, and that is what turned the 45 car around. Otherwise, if that had been just a regular safer barrier wall, he'd have brushed it, got off, if it continued on, we'd have still been green, but these tire barrier walls on the outside of the turns are playing a tremendous amount of havoc with whatever driver has an encounter with them. But that's what puts us under yellow. Let's go back now for the restart here at Rio. And this will for sure be a very interesting restart. As I said, Angel Navarro did beat Tyler Deaver to the start-finish line coming off pit road, but he came out behind the pace car. And that is where he will restart, behind the pace car, ahead of the race leader, Tyler Deaver. So this is going to be a very interesting restart. We'll have to see if maybe Elijah Gilbert, Ryan George, Daniel Gilbert, Stephen Pollard III, can they pounce and maybe be able to get the race lead away from Tyler. Mentioned the top 5. The other 2 transfer spots in the main event held 6th and 7th as D Shears and Zachary Stultz. On the outside looking in are Cole Deaver in the 66, K Shearer in the 30, and Chloe Ericsson in the 46 car. Nobody out of the race after what we just saw. Both Jordan Lopez and Caitlin Tsang have got their cars repaired to return to the racetrack. So far, the only 2 drivers out of the race are the aforementioned Austin LaPlante and J Cittadino. We will restart with 8 laps to go here at Rio de Janeiro. Green flag back out. Ryan George looked like he tried to jump it, couldn't do it. Same for Gilbert. Tyler Deaver is going to get away at least for the moment. Now we got to see how he's going to do getting around the damaged machine of Angel Navarro. Immediately goes to the inside going into 1. might have him cleared before we exit turn number 2, and now we'll leave Elijah Gilbert to have to deal with the now lap machine of Navarro. And Deaver going to be able to set sail. Here comes Gilbert now to the inside of Navarro. This is not for position. Navarro is now a lap down machine. Got a battle going on back here for what would be the 4th position. Stephen Pollard III, the inside of Daniel Gilbert, and had to really check up, but we nearly had a wreck back here between Dougie Shears and Cole Deaver, the 21 and the 66. Well, that battle's not going away from the 4th, though. SP3 all over the back bumper of Daniel Gilbert. Caution flag is out once again. Come to the line, they will be coming to the yellow, and they will begin to slow down now. And I believe, well, we got less than 10 to go, so I was going to say Navarro would restart on the inside line, but that's not the case. It would be a single file restart, and he will actually start ahead of Elijah Gilbert on this restart. Tyler Deaver, I'm certain, was the one that did not want to see that caution come out as he was beginning to scamper away from the field. Oh, we got some cars on pit road this time. Cody Smart, Carson Gum, both on pit lane. A lot of damage. Trace Williams also. There's a car smoking. I believe that's Chelsea Bowles in the 56. There's Quentin Moore, damage on the 89. A lot of hood damage on his Dodge Dart. We've gotten away with 1 and 2 car incidents. Looks like we had a multi-car wreck this time. So that is going to bring out the caution for the 3rd time here today. Number of the Dodge Darts out of the Gardner Racing, Fitzwater Australia Racing affiliation teams. Chelsea Bowles out of Fitzwater Australia Racing, Trace Williams out of Gardner Racing. Quentin Moore in the 89, also out of the Fitzwater Australia Racing stables. So as the caution comes out, we should be able to get back green. I don't know how many laps we'll have left, but let's see what happened. Looks like we had a big wreck take place here for our 3rd yellow of the day. Well, I think things get started with the 57 of Trace Williams, the 85 of Carson Gum. Trace begins running up the racetrack. Oh, and then Carson's car just snaps loose. And then turns into Trace Williams. Oh, Charles Jackson had gotten the wall earlier there with Chelsea Bowles. We'll have to look at that. Oh, boy. Then they both clobber into the 56. Oh, and then here comes Cody Smart getting turned by Quentin Moore right up into the 57, who goes up and into the air. Comes back down onto the hood of Cody Smart. Trace Williams' car is going to come back on all 4 wheels, but that's a scary wreck. Well, I said this track seemed very similar to Rockingham, UK. Rockingham, UK has brought about some scary wrecks and flips. Well, this track's doing the exact same thing. I want to quickly look back. Oh, Jordan Lopez got involved in this, and I didn't see that. I want to quickly look back at what happened with Charles Jackson and Chelsea Bowles. This was before the incident took place with Trace Williams and Carson Gum. That's M McIntire on the inside in the Buick. And Jackson tries to get to the outside, and I don't know if he hooks the 56 or the 56 just runs him out of room. That's a hard hit for Chelsea Bowles and Charles Jackson. The difference, though, between the wreck that we just seen take place here is there you see Williams and Gum into the wall, and then you're about to see as well Quentin Moore and Cody Smart right there. The only difference is all these drivers hit a safer barrier. There's a safer barrier in this portion of the track, not the tire barrier that we've seen most of our incidents happen in. And there's Quentin Moore turning dead left, turning Jordan Lopez around. So 2nd incident, Lopez has been involved here today. And I look at the point stands, and this could be very interesting as far as a point shakeup as well, because I look at some of these drivers involved. Jordan Lopez came into this race 4th in points, and Trace Williams came into the race 10th in the point standings, so both those drivers could not afford to get involved in this incident. We'll have to see how it all plays out, though. We still got a little ways to go here at Rio, and anything is still possible. Well, Rio beginning to be a race of attrition. We only had 2 cars behind the wall before. Now they've been joined by the likes of Trace Williams, Cody Smart, Chelsea Bowles, and Quentin Moore. So we have 6 drivers currently. 6 drivers rather, that are behind the wall. See Angel Navarro restarting there in the 2nd spot. However, he is a lap down in 34th, so He may play havoc here with the lead lap cars. Got a lot of damage on the hood of that KFC Toyota Camry as well as the rear. Have to see if he's going to be a problem. He may be the best friend Tyler Deaver has right now, as Deaver will have a slower lap machine between himself and second place starting Elijah Gilbert. Ryan George restarts in third. Fourth, Daniel Gilbert. Stephen Pollard III there in fifth. Sixth, D Shears, and Cole Deaver currently holds the final transfer spot into the main event race in seventh place. Zachary Stultz, K Ericsson, K Shearer, that is your top 10. Down a little bit further down the running order here for just a moment before we go back green. You got the 95 of Caleb Farrell restarting 11th. Seth Cole in 12th. Alex Miller 13th. 14th place is DJ Kurtis. Stephen Gonzalez 15th. Matt McIntire 16th. Phil Parker is 17th. Green flag back out is Daniel Olson, Christian Merrick Jr., and P Minnick. That is your top 20. Green flag back out with about 3 laps remaining. Elijah Gilbert to the inside of A Navarro. This is to be able to get by the lap machine, set his sights on Tyler Deaver potentially for the race win. And he will clear for sure. Here comes Ryan George trying to get by. Stephen Pollard III was able to get the 4th position away from Daniel Gilbert. Now looking for 3rd as he's all over the back bumper of Ryan George, both trying to work their way past the lap traffic. And the battle for the transfer spot is back here. Cole Deaver currently holds it. Got Caleb Farrell, K Ericsson back there, K Shearer, they all want it. And Deaver hang on. Top 2 have broken away from the lap machine. 2 laps to go, we're still green. Hopefully we can stay that way. They're going to go 3 wide back here. Stephen Pollard III, this is the battle for the 3rd position. 3 wide with Ryan George, Angel Navarro. Both clear the lap machine of Angel Navarro. Here comes Ryan George battling back on the outside line. Can't be able to keep it. Stephen Pollard III clears him for the position. Tyler Deaver looking in his rearview mirror, seeing that T-Burger's Ford Fusion beginning to loom large in his rearview mirror. He's going to have to hold him off at least one more time, and it's less than a car length separation between the top 2. And down to the start-finish line, white flag displayed, will race back to the checkers no matter what. Deaver trying to close. Gilbert trying to close in. Then the battle's back here between Stephen Pollard III and Ryan George. As there's Carson Gump coming back onto the racetrack in the 85. He's not going to play a factor. Battle for the transfer spots right here. Cole Deaver still holds the spot. K Ericsson and K Shearer trying to catch him. Meanwhile, we'll go back up to the front again. Elijah Gilbert maybe about 2 car lengths back behind Tyler Deaver. He might not be able to catch him. Deaver has opened the gap just the least little bit. These 2 will have to settle the score amongst each other in the main event. They'll both be transferring, but Tyler Deaver is going to pick up some big-time points here today. He'll capture his first win of the season as he will take the checkered flag here in the second non-charter race. Today, at Rio de Janeiro, Tyler Deaver closes it out at Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway. Oh, look at the battle for the transfer spot. Think Cole Deaver kept it. Yes, he did. Boy, K Ericsson, P Minnick, K Shearer, Caleb Farrell were given a late charge down the front straightaway, but they will not be able to make it into the main event. Cole Deaver will make his first Hersheys Cup Series start. D Shears will make his first Hersheys Cup Series start of the season. So will Ryan George, so will SP3, Gilbert, and Deaver. Only driver in the top 7 that will be making his second start of the season is Daniel Gilbert, finishing in the 6th position. And that's going to be a good points-paying day for him as well. Came in as the points leader, finishes in the top 10. But Tyler Deaver picks up the win here today. Big-time win for him. Trying to see where Tyler came into today's race. 33rd in the points, so after a tough race last week at Daytona, solid outing here today for that number 96 team. So that's going to do it for our non-charter race here today. Standings should be official. Tyler Deaver with the win. Elijah Gilbert comes home 2nd. Stephen Pollard III in 3rd. Ryan George 4th. D Shears 5th. Teammate Daniel Gilbert in 6th. And Cole Deaver in 7th. Those 7 will fill in spots 36 through 42 in the starting lineup later on this week for the main event race of the Hersheys Cup Series. Rest of your top 10 were Chloe Ericsson, K Shearer, and Paul Minnick. Look on down through the remainder of the finishing results there. A couple of notables that came in today's race running well in the points. Seth Cole, second in the points, finishes 12th. Not a bad run. Third in points, Alex Gray is going to finish the day out in 19th. And Alex Miller, who came in 5th in points, finishes in 17th. So they all had somewhat feasible days today. The big problem for them, though, is Daniel Gilbert finished in the 6th position. So he will undoubtedly grow his points lead heading into next week's race at Las Vegas. We'll take a look down through the remainder of the finishing results as 6 drivers officially finished out of the race. Quentin Moore, Chelsea Bowles, Cody Smart, Trace Williams, Austin LaPlante, and Jon Cittadino. 2 cars finished off the lead lap, Angel Navarro and Carson Gum. 32 of our 40 cars finished on the lead lap. And it was a crazy one today. I think that we're going to be in for a really good race, both in the Pizza Hut X Series and the main event of the Hersheys Cup Series for sure. It's certainly interesting to see what happens there. And these 7 drivers that transfer, they're going to have a little bit of an upper hand as well, with a little bit of racing experience at this track. Everybody else going to be kind of at a clean slate, trying to learn this racetrack as the race goes on. Thank you all for tuning in to today's race. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown your full finishing results. Here are the point standings for the non-charter series heading into next week at Las Vegas. Up next is the Pizza Hut X Series second race, as well as the Hersheys Cup Series main event here at Rio de Janeiro at the Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best. We'll see you guys next time.